Pain profound, it's deep where the heart makes sound. One last beat and it might bleed out. I just might leave now, empty these airbags and lie me down. See the lies in your eyes catching up with your mouth. I made my mistakes, of course I never lived them down. You won't let me, left marks on your heart. You will never forget me, condescend me and call me proud. I told you what you need to win and how. I'm a madman now. My worst fears realized, no longer the sad clown, Pagliacci the Pennywise. The point of no return, make them ashes and let them fly. You ain't gon' save them all, so go ahead and just let them die. Murder these emotions, bury them deep inside. If I get any colder, I swear I'ma freeze the shy. All I could do is soldier, marching through a starry night, focused on the end game, finally gon' get it right. Find myself in the light, been fighting for my fucking life, dealing with you fake fucks. I ain't gotta say much, you know what it is, kid. I just wanna blaze up, continue getting rich, bitch, and blow the fucking name up. Built by where I came from, pushed by what I've been through. You deferred my dreams, the reason I resent you. It don't make no sense, you pretend I don't offend you. I'm everything you hate, but if you walked a mile in these shoes, you finally understand why it's not in me to respect you. We come from different fabric, different madness, different venue. We lost our common ground, the bond just wasn't sound. The objective was to come up, and now you bring me down. Now you bring me down.
Crushing me inside.
Cold stares and crooked smiles for what seemed a million miles. Every demon that I let in is out to hunt me down. Burn this jungle up around me, leave the ashes on the ground. Scorched earth, cursed birth, body bags of 4 pounds. This is what we left with, why else would we be desperate? Gunning for each other's heads, wishing everybody dead. Fight the reaper often, but he will never soften. Relentless with his methods, he will put you in the coffin. My mind isn't earned, cause I've already burned. Drowned in the dark matter, mirror shattered, I've learned. You won't take what I've earned, never break what I create. Cause I have made the sacrifices you're afraid to make. My fear is lost potential, being anything but great. Succumbing to the suckers, to the leeches and the hate. Politicians with their speeches in these streets cannot debate. Punch your ballots with these bullets and you'll run and seal your fate. Democracy's a mockery, only the strongest stay. The weak will fade away, and us will see another day. No matter what another motherfucker has to say, I will never let you hold me in one place. Your problems are your own, it's personal, emotions overblown. Living separate visions, conscience overthrown. I trust none of you bastards, I'm safest when I'm alone. It's sad, I understand it's how it is out on this road. To take a gorilla's grip to hold on to your soul. Brute force to stick to the script and not let it go. You can't slip, one false move and you'll never know. Had you gotten up, how far you go? How far you go?
Salutes. Welcome to Sha Ill Reacts. I am your host, Sha Ill, and we are back at it like bad habits. Salutes to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Everybody that's in the chat, salutes. Right? We are back. Right? Got another live popping today. Let me adjust this cam a little bit. Boom. All right, we back for another one. All right? Salutes. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Let's get to the issue at hand quickly. All right. Shout out Jorge Castillo. Read my intro. Said Florida. We need to be doing this Chicago story. Agreed. I don't. Just like I did the Jaden Perkins story, I will be getting to that story. But as the time allots, because I want to give that the attention that it deserves and bring up some other stories that have to do with it. I mean, so on that note, we're going to cover this one because this one is something that's as recent and kind of close to what I was doing over the weekend. All right, so we're going to get to this first and foremost. So I appreciate you, Jorge. Thank you for being here. All right, I will be the program director and we will get to it. Make sure you're here when we do get to it. Appreciate you. Shout out Young Jizzle in the chat. We in here. What up, Shael? Saludos, amigos. Saludos to you, sir. Rilo's in the plaza. Salutes to you. Appreciate you being here. Salutes, Jorge Castillo. Ivan, appreciate you, per usual. Old Soul, my brother. Salutes. Smoking Guns Customs, my brother. Salutes to you. All right. Appreciate y'all being here. We're going to cover a couple things today. We're going to do a little paperwork party. All right. We're going to talk about Val Flores' plea agreement. I got that. So we're going to go through that. And then we're going to go through this crazy story that's coming out of Florida that seemed to have started when I was getting there for my trip over the last week. And it's a strange story, and it might cross worlds with what we cover here on this channel, which is why it's being dealt with right now. I mean, all right. Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing nothing. Got everything popping. Again, I appreciate y'all for being here. Quick on the housekeeping front. I put the donation handles right here on the scroll. If you can see the scroll right there in the red beneath me. Right? Where is it? Right there. All right. I added the handles for the PayPal, the Venmo, and the Cash App. Because people were asking last time where it's at. It's in the description. It can be confusing at times. Also, I wanted to cover in today's housekeeping, clear up a little confusion when it comes to the donations and where they come through and how they come through. We have the $2 minimum text-to-speech donations in the description. There's 2 links that say text-to-speech donations. Those are the only ones that come on the screen and actually read your comment out loud, all right? Y'all are losing me, huh? Something's going on, man. It took a little while for it to... Oh, I know what it is. It's raining. Something's going down outside. Y'all let me know if it gets any worse, if it gets any better. I don't have any drop frames here, but y'all keep me posted. What I was talking about. Yeah, so in the description, we got 2 links there. Streamlabs link and a Power Chat link. Those 2 links are for text-to-speech. Those will pop up on the screen and be read by the AI voice. So we had a little bit of confusion. Shout out Zoraida. She dropped a donation the other night and it didn't get read out. But let me explain to y'all for future reference. The only ones that get read out on the screen are the links that are in the description, the text-to-speech links that are in the description. Those get read on the screen. The rest of them, when it comes to Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, those are utilized more for people that want to leave private donations or don't really want to, have a comment to put on the Cash App. Otherwise, also the super thanks pop up on the screen. It lets us know that you made a donation, but it does not read out your donation, right? So hopefully that clears it up. Again, salutes to Zoraida for her donation on yesterday's live. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. And yeah, so that opened up a lane for me to be able to explain that. 2 links in the description. Text to speech. It will be read on the screen, and it will look like this. Oh no, wrong one. That's a super chat. You see, it doesn't read his comment, right? But if I do this one here.
Test user donated $50. Test message.
So there's the difference. So the link for that right there is in the description. All the other links are private donations. Either way, we appreciate you guys. I doubled up on it right there.
Test user donated $50.
Either way, we
Test
appreciate you
message.
guys. The best thing you can do for the channel is hit that like button. All right, if you have yet to subscribe, please do. We have the chat on subscriber only mode. Again, all right? People got to make a commitment if they want to come in and hang out. You know what I mean? Got to make the commitment. All right, so we're here. Again, we got the super thanks, super chats, and all of that stuff available as well for people that want to support the channel on that level. All right? We also got the Ill Shop. Y'all know where that's at. I'm going to drop the link in here. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Copy. All right, so right now, the way the chat is set up, you have to be subscribed at least for 1 minute before you can talk in the chat. All right? Boom. Everything's looking gravy. Again, I also put that PayPal QR code up there just to see how it works. It worked when I hit it. Maybe it's something cool that we can leave up there. Maybe not. We'll see. Everything is a test. Again, salutes to y'all. Hundreds up for y'all. Salutes to Vernon Himes on the check-in. Salutes to Smokey Fuma. I appreciate you, sir. Hundreds up for y'all in the chat. I'm sure people will start trickling in. And, the longer we go, it usually works out like that. Boom, let me pin Smokey's comment to the top. Hit that like button. All right? When we got more concurrent viewers than we got likes, it just seems like there's no love. I'm saying we need the love around here, all right? Again, we're on our road to 10,000 subs. We're at something like 6,380, something like that. So tell a friend to tell a friend we over here, you know what I mean? What else we got going on? Let me check my phone, make sure I ain't got nothing popping here. I sent out the notifications. And that's it. Still up in the air on the time with the Twins, trying to lock that down. I'll keep you guys posted. I wanted a little bit more time to promo, but again, it's been a hectic couple of weeks. But we're doing our thing. We're doing what we can. This is our third live in a row. More lives, less editing. That's what we on right there, all right? Quick. Scroll through. Boom. I put the link in the description so that way y'all can get to the Ill Shop. All right? Y'all can get to the Ill Shop and check out our different color combos of our usual suspects gear. Right? We got those tagged in videos as well. And we got our Il Cartel gear. Right? Salutes to y'all. Again, if you have yet to subscribe, please do. Please hit the like button. And we're going to hang out for a minute. First and foremost, we are going to get to, hopefully we get an update this weekend. Bobby D said just hit the like button. That's it. Simple. It's easy. Salutes to you, Bobby D, on the check-in. Hopefully we get an update from the Twins on the wives this weekend. But right here, what I have is, and what we're going to be doing around here is also we're going to cover some of their old interviews, some of their In Disguise interviews and stuff like that over the next couple of days. Salutes, Peter, on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming through. All right. Went over this once quickly. It's about 20 pages, but I don't think we have to read all 20 pages. It's one of those that, Peter said, did you look at those two links I sent you yesterday? Actually, yeah, we covered one of them. We didn't cover the other one yet. Salute Smokey Fuma. He said, let's get it. He got his popcorn out. Let's get it. All right, what I got here is the... Hit record. Get this video popping right here. There we go. All right, what I have here is United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois Eastern Division, United States of America versus Valerie Gaitan. All right, plea agreement. All right, again, y'all deal with each other in the chat. If you're trying to get my attention, y'all know how to do that. I'm gonna try to get through this as swiftly as possible. Here we go. Number one. This plea agreement between the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, John Lausch, Jr., and defendant Valerie Gaitan and her attorney, Michael Clancy, is made pursuant to Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure and is governed in part by Rule 11 as more fully set forth below. The parties to this agreement have agreed upon the following charges in this case. Number 2, the indictment in this case charges defendant with money laundering, conspiracy, in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1956, Count 1. Money laundering in violation of Title 18 Section 1956, Count 3. And engaging in a monetary transaction in criminally derived property greater than $10,000 in violation of Title 18. All right. Hold on one sec. Some mad stuff going on. You know, when I get text messages during the show, it's not a bad thing. No, we ain't going through all that right now. Can't do it. Number 3, defendant has read the charges against her contained in the indictment, and those charges have been fully explained to her by her attorney. Defendant fully understands the nature and elements of the crimes with which she has been charged. Charge to which defendant is pleading guilty. By this plea agreement, defendant agrees to enter a voluntary plea of guilty to the following count of the indictment. Count 1, which charges the defendant with money laundering conspiracy. So she copped to the she pleaded guilty to the conspiracy charge, money laundering conspiracy. Factual basis. Number 6, defendant will plead guilty because she is in fact guilty of the charge contained in count 1 of the indictment. In pleading guilty, defendant admits the following facts, and that those facts establish her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt and establish a basis for forfeiture of the property described elsewhere in this plea agreement. Beginning no later than in or about December 2008 and continuing until at least on or about March 11, 2020, at Chicago in the Northern District of Illinois' Eastern Division and elsewhere, defendant Valerie Gaitan did conspire with Viviana Lopez, Armando Flores, and others to commit an offense in violation of Title 18, to knowingly conduct and attempt to conduct a financial transaction affecting interstate commerce. That's that RICO right there, boy. They get you with that interstate commerce. That's when it goes fed. That right there. This was already in there, but I'm just saying in general, like you do some shit and you interstate commerce accidentally and you interstate popped. Which involved the proceeds of a specified unlawful activity that is the felonious buying and selling and otherwise dealing in a controlled substance, knowing that the transaction was designed in whole and in part to conceal and disguise the nature, location, source, ownership, and control of the proceeds of said specified unlawful activity, and that while conducting and attempting to conduct such financial transaction, knew that the property involved in this financial transaction represented the proceeds of some form of unlawful activity, aka y'all was playing around with dope money, and we don't like it. To knowingly engage in a monetary transaction in and affecting interstate commerce in criminally derived property of a value greater than $10,000. Such property having been derived from a specified unlawful activity, namely the felonious buying and selling and otherwise dealing in a controlled substance in violation of Title 18. More specifically, in or about 2008, Gaitan was living in Mexico with other family members, which including her husband Margarito Flores, or Margarito, her brother-in-law Pedro Flores, or Pedro, Pedro's wife Viviana Lopez, or Viviana, and her other brother-in-law Armando Flores, or Armando. Between at least May 2005 and December 2008, Margarito and Pedro operated a Chicago-based distribution cell for the Sinaloa Cartel and the Beltran Leyva organization, which involved the transportation and distribution of hundreds of kilograms of brocaine and kilogram quantities of heroin per month to customers in Columbus, Cincinnati, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Los Angeles, and Vancouver. This rug trafficking activity generated hundreds of millions of dollars of proceeds from the sale of narcotics. In about November 2008, Margarito, Pedro, and Armando began cooperating with the United States government, which ultimately caused them and their families to leave Mexico and return to the United States in or about December 2008. In or about August 2010, Gaetan and Viviana turned in approximately $4.2 million in cash rug proceeds to counsel for Margarito for the purpose of forfeiting the proceeds to the government. All right, y'all remember, Jay said clearly that when they started testifying, or when they got brought in, they had to turn over $4.2 million. So that's that $4.2 million that Val and Vivi turned in on behalf of P&J. At the time, Gaetan and others turned in these funds. Gaetan and others represented that the $4.2 million to constitute all of the available rug proceeds remaining from the rug operation of Margarito and Pedro. All right, so I guess that says that at the time they were saying the $4.2 million was it. That's all y'all had left, huh? At the time, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other aspects involved that would make it that number specifically, especially the amount of loads that they gave up at the end and the amount of money that they had out there owed to people after they started their cooperation, if that makes sense. However, in reality, additional rug proceeds remained available to Gaetan. In or about 2010 or 2011, Gaetan arrived at Armando's home in the Austin, Texas area around the same time that a U-Haul truck filled with second-hand furniture arrived. Gaetan was aware that the truck contained bulk cash, which Gaetan understood to be rug proceeds hidden inside the furniture. Gaetan asked Armando, I should just call her Val, asked Armando if he could store the cash for her. Armando agreed and proceeded to bury the money underneath his back porch. Val acknowledges that the cash rug proceeds totaled at least approximately $2.3 million. So that's 2.3 under the back porch. Just turned over 4.2. Crazy. Armando stored the cash rug proceeds from Val for a number of years without accessing it. Beginning in or about 2015, Armando agreed to start dispersing the cash as directed by Val in exchange for a fee. At Val's request, Armando dispersed the money in different ways, all of which Val knew were designed to conceal the illegal nature and source of the money. So they're saying everything that she did and everything that he did was in an attempt to hide that bread. You know what I'm saying? In an attempt to hide that bread. But they're not just hiding that bread from the feds. They're hiding that bread from wolves too. But I'm trying to figure out the steps in which, like, again, we'll probably get to that when we get, if we're able to find the get a hold of the manuscripts or transcripts. Because my question is, all right, they turned it over to you and said, what, that's it, just the 4.2? Y'all didn't think about that there was nothing else? Nothing else? The feds didn't see nothing else? Because the ladies made it clear. They said, and again, they took their, they took it on the chin. They went to prison. But their claim is that, man, first of all, we had some immunity. That's number one. And number two, we claimed this money. We already put this out there. They didn't want no part of this money. They just wanted their testimonies. Here we go. Armando dispersed the money in different ways, all of which Val knew were designed to conceal the illegal nature and source of the money. For example, between approximately 1 and 4 times per month, from approximately 2015 to 2020, Armando sent quantities of cash rug proceeds via U.S. Mail Priority Express to Val at her home or at a UPS store mailbox held under the name of Val's family member. The amount of rug proceeds Armando sent in these parcels varied, but on average the parcels contained at least $9,000 per mailing. I mean, that's to keep it from being reported if you drop it anywhere, I guess. But if it's cash, you ain't dropping it anywhere. I guess you don't want the mail to if the mail does get popped, you don't want it over $9,000. Val acknowledges that in approximately 2016 and 2017, Armando started to sometimes exchange older, dirty currency that was often in small denominations for newer $100 bills at a nearby gas station currency exchange where Armando knew an employee before then sending the money to Gaitan by mail. I feel like we read this. They must have used this in one of the articles that we read. Armando also distributed the cash rug proceeds for Val by delivering the proceeds to a travel agency near Armando's home in order to pay for travel that Val booked for herself and others. Val told Armando the approximate amount of cash to bring to the travel agency, and then when Armando was inside the agency, he would call Val via a prepaid cell phone, which Armando used to communicate with Val regarding the rug proceeds, and let Val speak with the travel agency employee for purposes of booking the travel and also determining the final amount of money that was due. Val would then have Armando pay the employee that final amount using the cash rug proceeds. Right? They were spending that bread. Get it out for me. Gotta spend that bread. Gotta spend that bread. In addition, Armando used the cash rug proceeds to buy and mail out money orders and gift cards at Val's direction. Armando at times also used his own credit or debit cards to pay for Val's expenses and then reimbursed himself, plus a fee. With the cash rug proceeds he stored for Val, This arrangement between Armando and Val continued until on or about March 9th, 2020. Right? That's what? Peak virus stages. Finally, Val acknowledges that on or about June 11, 2019, Gaitan and Viviana knowingly caused approximately $10,307.43 in rug proceeds possessed by Viviana to be used to purchase airfare for Val. Viviana and their relatives at a travel agency in Chicago. Alright, so basically y'all was moving around money as far as they're concerned. Y'all was sneaking around, spending that bread all willy-nilly. And now you know what it is. Number 7, maximum statutory penalties. Alright? Maximum statutory penalties. Hit the like button, y'all. Number 7, defendant understands that the charge to which she is pleading guilty carries the following statutory penalties. A maximum sentence of 20 years imprisonment. This offense also carries a maximum fine of $500,000 or twice the property involved, whichever is greater. Defendant further understands that the judge also may impose a term of supervised release of not more than 3 years. So remember, they tried to give them 11 and a half years. You know, they tried to give them 11 and a half years and they ended up getting 3.5. But it has a maximum sentence of 20 years on that case, supposedly. B, pursuant to Title 18, defendant will be assessed $100 on the charge to which she has pled guilty, in addition to any other penalty imposed. All right, so they hit her in the head for another $100. However that goes, you know what I mean? All right, sentencing guideline calculations. Number 8, defendant understands that in determining a sentence, the court is obligated to calculate the applicable sentencing guidelines range and to consider that range possible departures under the sentencing guidelines and other sentencing factors under 18, which include the nature and circumstance of the offense and the history and characteristics of the defendant, the need for the sentence imposed to reflect the seriousness of the offense, promote respect for the law, and provide just punishment for the offense. So how dare you guys move that money around, You had no respect for us, and we're going to make sure when we sentence you that we show everybody that you should respect the law, all right? And provide just punishment for the offense. Afford adequate deterrence to criminal conduct. Protect the public from further crimes of the defendant, and provide the defendant with needed educational or vocational training, medical care, or other correctional treatment in the most effective manner. Last thing that prisons do is correct people. Just doesn't work that way. The kinds of sentences available, the need to avoid unwarranted sentence disparities among defendants with similar records who have been found guilty of similar conduct, and the need to provide restitution to any victim of the offense. 9. For purposes of calculating the sentencing guidelines, the parties agree on the following points, except as specified below. A. Applicable guidelines. The sentencing guidelines to be considered in this case are those in effect at the time of sentencing. The following statements regarding the calculation of the sentencing guidelines are based on the guidelines manual currently in effect, namely the November 2021 guidelines manual. Offense level calculations. The base offense level is 24 pursuant to guideline whatever, because the value of the laundered funds is greater than 1.5 million but less than 3.5 million. Right? So that assigns that number, how much money was involved in this laundering. You know what I mean? Salutes to Velez 408 on the check-in. Saludos, Shai. Salutes to you. I appreciate you. You know, salutes to the chat. The chat gets quiet when we have it on subscription-only mode, but salutes to y'all for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Number 2 is 6 levels are added pursuant to the guideline because the defendant knew that the laundered funds were the proceeds of an offense involving the manufacture, importation, or distribution of a controlled substance. All right, so add 6 to that 24 just because they knew where that money came from, that it was quote-unquote dirty money, right? Bet. Salute Zoraida in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for popping up. Hundreds up for y'all. Bow, 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 bow. All right. We outside. 3, 2 levels are added to the offense pursuant to the guideline because the defendant was convicted. All right. So add 2 just because we found you guilty. You know what I mean? Add 2 for that. 2 more levels. Salutes to Up Echelon. Appreciate you, sir. Checking in. Salutes IB. I got my hands full painting the sign for my homie's food truck, but we in here. Salutes to you, dog. But it wasn't a shot. All right. It's to the unsubscribed, the uncommitted. All right. Those who ride the fence. Those afraid to stand on one side or the other. All right. It's for those, man. It's for them. But salutes to you. All right. Get the job done. Help your homie out. Salutes. Let's see. And then number 4, it's the government's position that 4 levels are added to the offense level because the defendant was an organizer of a criminal activity that involved 5 or more participants or was otherwise extensive. It is defendant's position that this enhancement does not apply. So Val was against them using this guideline. Both parties reserve the right to present evidence and argue on this issue at sentencing. So they try to give her the boss status, the same boss status we was talking about with Buddy, Ron. Yep, they try to make her one of the bosses. 5, defendant has clearly demonstrated a recognition and affirmative acceptance of personal responsibility for his criminal conduct, for her criminal conduct. If the government does not receive additional evidence in conflict with this provision, and if defendant continues to accept responsibility for her actions within the meaning of the guideline, the probation office, including by furnishing the United States Attorney's Office and the probation office with all requested financial information relevant to her abilities to satisfy any fine that may be imposed in this case. A 2-level reduction in the offense level is appropriate. This is like a game. It's like a silly game of points. You know what I'm saying? If you did this, you get these points. If you didn't do this, we'll take 2 points away. If you argue this, we'll add 3 points. Listen here, man. Number 6. In accordance with the guidelines, defendant has timely notified the government of her intentions to enter a plea of guilty, thereby permitting the government to avoid preparing for trial and permitting the court to allocate its resources efficiently. Therefore, as provided by the guideline, the court determines the offense to be, if the court determines the offense level to be 16 or greater prior to determining that defendant is entitled to a 2-level reduction for acceptance and responsibility, the government will move for an additional 1-level reduction in the offense level. All right? As long as you notified them in enough time that you're gonna plead guilty and you're not gonna make them go through all the business of getting ready for court, they'll take 1 point away. They negotiate with their points. You know what I'm saying? Because the law is so serious, you can negotiate with all these points. Upper echelon in the chat said they didn't try to give it to both of them. Yeah, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they tried to give them every level that you can give, and they tried to not take away none of the levels that they could take away. Why would they? Right? They the boss, right? C, criminal history category. With regard to determining the defendant's criminal history points and criminal history category, based on the facts now known to the government and stipulated below, defendant's criminal history points equals 0. And defendant's criminal history category is 1. I. On or about October 1st, 2001, defendant was convicted of structuring in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois and sentenced to 5 months imprisonment. Pursuant to guideline, defendant received 0 criminal history points for this conviction. Okay. So that was when that's that 2001 case. I think that's when they try to get her to wear the wire on K. D. Anticipated advisory sentencing guidelines range. Therefore, based on the facts now known to the government, it is the government's position that the anticipated offense level is 33, which when combined with the anticipated criminal history category of 1, results in an anticipated advisory sentencing range of 135 to 168 month imprisonment, in addition to any supervised release and fine the court may impose. It is defendant's position that the anticipated offense level is 29, which when combined with the anticipated criminal history category of 1, results in an anticipated advisory sentencing guideline range of 87 to 101 months. Wildin'. In addition to any supervised release and fine the court may impose. So being that she received 0 criminal history points for this conviction, and she's at level 1, they're saying that could have got up to 87 to 108 months. Wow. Okay, upper echelon said I meant they didn't try. They did give it to them. The 2 levels was for her prior. They didn't try. They gave it to both of them. They didn't try to give it to both of them. You confused me with the text. So did they take away points or did they give them more points? And I see that you're saying they gave her 2 levels for her prior. All right, so here we go. E. Defendant and her attorney and the government acknowledge that the above guideline calculations are preliminary in nature and are non-binding, meaning we can screw you later if we want to. Same kind of thing with the, it's funny, YouTube's funny with the ad suitability to see if your video is monetized or not. They say, well, if you do get monetized, they say, this can change later. We can screw you over later and take it back. You know what I'm saying? But if it don't, there's no way you can get it monetized. So it's like it's a one-way street. Upper Echelon says she gets more time than hustlers for just spending the money. Facts. They asked for 11 years. Yeah, I told the chat that earlier. When it said here that there was a 20-year maximum. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, defendant and her attorney and the government acknowledge that the above guideline calculations are preliminary in nature. We'll get you later. And are non-binding predictions upon which neither party is entitled to rely. Defendants understand that further review of the facts or applicable legal principles may lead the government to conclude that different or additional guidelines provisions apply in this case. The defendant understands that the probation office will conduct its own investigation and that the court ultimately determines the facts and law relevant to sentencing, and that the court's determination governs the final guideline calculation accordingly. The validity of this agreement is not contingent upon the probation officers or the court's concurrence with the above calculations, and defendant shall not have a right to withdraw her plea on the basis of the court's rejection of these calculations. In other words, you stuck. Number 10, both parties expressly acknowledge that this agreement is not governed by Fed R. Crim, and the errors in applying or interpreting any of the sentencing guidelines may be corrected by either party prior to sentencing. The parties may correct these errors either by stipulation or by a statement to the probation officer or the court, setting forth the disagreement regarding the applicable provisions of the guidelines. The validity of this agreement will not be affected by such corrections, and defendant shall not have a right to withdraw her plea. Everything is you cannot withdraw your plea. We got you. Nor the government the right to vacate this agreement on the basis of such corrections. Upper Echelon said 4 levels for leader and organizer, 2 levels for the prior is 6 total level enhancements. It's crazy. They're just throwing numbers around. Agreement relating to the sentencing. Each party is free to recommend whatever sentence it deems appropriate. 12. It is understood by the parties that the sentencing judge is either a party to nor bound by this agreement and may impose a sentence up to the maximum penalties as set forth above. Defendant further acknowledges that if the court does not accept the sentencing recommendations of the parties, the defendant will have no right to withdraw her plea agreement. Defendant agrees to pay the special assignment of $100. After sentence has been imposed on the count to which defendant pleads guilty as agreed herein, the government will move to dismiss the remaining count of the indictment as to defendant. Forfeiture. They love this part. Defendant understands that by pleading guilty, she will be subject to forfeiture to the United States, all right, title, and interest that she has in any property involved in the offense. Defendant agrees to the entry of a personal money judgment in the amount of $504,858, which represents property involved in the offense. Defendant consents to the immediate entry of a preliminary order of forfeiture setting forth the amount of personal money judgment she'll be ordered to pay. Like, what's up with these fines, man? What happens when you don't pay these fines? Where do they expect somebody to pull $500,000 out their pocket? You know what I'm saying? Defendant admits that because the directly forfeitable property is no longer available for forfeiture as described in Title 21, the United States is entitled to seek forfeiture of any other property of the defendant up to the value of the personal money judgment as substitute assets pursuant to Title 21. Man, they could just take it all, jack you. Defendant understands that forfeiture shall not be treated as satisfaction of any fine, cost, or aka you're gonna keep giving, you keep giving, we keep taking, and don't ask no questions. You know what I'm saying? And which is y'all mad because you feel like they did that. You feel like the girls took. But that's the government. The government, you ain't nothing but a cartel, man. Defendant agrees to waive all constitutional, statutory, and equitable challenges in any manner, including but not limited to direct appeal or a motion brought under the Title 28, to any forfeiture carried out in accordance with this agreement or on any grounds, including that the forfeiture constitutes an excessive fine or punishment. The waiver in this paragraph does not apply to a claim of involuntariness or ineffective assistance of counsel. Acknowledgments and waivers regarding plea of guilty. Nature of agreement. This agreement is entirely voluntary and represents the entire agreement between the United States Attorney and the defendant regarding the defendant's criminal liability. This agreement concerns criminal liability only, except as expressly set forth in the agreement. Nothing herein shall constitute a limitation, waiver, or release by the United States or any of its agencies of any administrative or judicial civil claim, demand, or cause of action it may have against defendant or any other person or entity. The obligations of this agreement are limited to the U.S. State's Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois and cannot bind any other federal, state, or local prosecuting, administrative, or regulatory authorities except as expressly set forth in the agreement. Right? Conditional plea of guilty. The government agrees that defendant's plea of guilty is entered pursuant to federal crim. Pursuant to that rule, the parties agree that defendant, with the consent of the court, may enter a conditional plea of guilty, reserving her right to appeal to the courts of November 8th, the court's order of November 8th, 2022, denying defendant's motion to dismiss. Only in the event of a reversal of the decision will defendants be permitted to withdraw her plea. The government does not consent to an appeal on any other pretrial issue, and defendant reserves the right to appeal only the identified pretrial ruling and any issues relating to the sentence. Defendant acknowledges that in the event of a reversal of the court's order denying the motion to dismiss, the government may reinstate and prosecute any charges. AKA, we're all done here, but if we decide we're not all done here, we're going to come back and get you and see if we can get some more done. You know what I mean? Wildin'. Just nasty. Nasty work. Same old shit right there. Waiver of rights. Defendant understands that by pleading guilty, she surrenders certain rights, including the following. Trial rights. Defendant has the right to persist in the plea of not guilty to the charges against her, and if she does, she would have the right to a public and speedy trial. The trial could be either a jury trial or a trial by the judge sitting without a jury. However, in order that the trial be conducted by the judge sitting without a jury, defendant, the government, and the judge all must agree that the trial be conducted by the judge without a jury. If the trial is a jury trial, the jury would be composed of 12 citizens from the district, selected at random. Defendant and her attorney would participate in choosing the jury by requesting that the court remove prospective jurors for cause where actual bias or other disqualification is shown, or by removing prospective jurors without cause by exercising peremptory challenges. The trial is a jury by trial. The jury would be instructed that the defendant is presumed innocent, that the government has the burden of proving defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and that the jury could not convict her unless, after hearing all of the evidence, it was persuaded of her guilt by a reasonable doubt, and it was considered to each count of the indictment separately. The jury would have to agree unanimously as to each count before it could return a verdict of guilty or not guilty. The trial is held by the judge without a jury. The judge would find the facts and determine. Either way, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? All it takes is a couple haters in the jury. So, people don't like the way you look, how you walk, how you talk, whatever. Or a judge that woke up on the wrong side of the bed. All right, none of this, this is just a lot. Appellate rights. Nah, you got no rights. We got what we were going to get out of this. Right? Pre-sentence investigation report, post-sentence supervision. Defendant understands that the United States Attorney, in its submission to the probation office as a part of the pre-sentence report and at sentencing, shall fully apprise the district court and the probation office of the nature, scope, and extent of defendant's conduct regarding the charges against her and related matters. The government will make known all matters in aggravation and mitigation relevant to the sentencing. Defendant agrees to truthfully and completely execute a financial statement with supporting documents prior to sentencing. The United States Attorney's Office regarding all details of her financial circumstances, including her recent income tax returns, as specified by the probation officer. They want it all. I want everything. Give me your lunch money. Give me your lunch money. You ain't getting no Uber. Get on that bike. You don't need a new car. We need that. Run that. Defendant understands that providing false or incomplete information or refusing to provide this information may be used as a basis for denial of a reduction for acceptance of responsibility pursuant to the guideline, and an enhancement of her sentence for obstruction of justice, and may be prosecuted as violation of the code. For the purpose of monitoring the defendant's compliance with her obligations to pay a fine during any term of supervised release or probation to which defendant is sentenced, defendant further consents to the disclosure by the IRS to the probation office and the United States Office of... It's like you'll never be able to spend $1 again without them seeing where that dollar went, who it went to, how it got to you, who taxed it, how many times it would tax it, how much is still there that can still be taxed. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Salute to y'all. Honey's up in the chat for y'all. Hit the like button, y'all. We chilling. Boom. So they even want to know, they're all in your IRS. I mean, they could already get all in your IRS shit, but now they want you to serve it up. You know what I mean? They don't want to have to just look for it. You tell us so that when we do go looking and we find something, we're going to come knock your ass down. That's what they on. You know, they wilding. Shout out Chucky Chingon on the check-in. Salutes, brother. Little paperwork party real quick. Then we're going to do another story. Then we're going to move on. All right. Defendant also agrees that a certified copy of this agreement shall be sufficient evidence of defendant request to the IRS to disclose the returns and return information as provided for in Title 26 United States Code Section 6103. Other terms, defendant agrees to cooperate with the United States Attorney's Office in collecting any unpaid fine for which the defendant is liable, including providing financial statements and supporting records as requested by the United States Attorney's Office. Defendant understands that if convicted, a defendant who is not a United States citizen may be removed from the United States, denied citizenship, and denied admission to the United States in the future. Conclusion. Defendant understands that this agreement will be filed with the court, will become a matter of public record, and may be disclosed to any person. Number 10, defendant understands that her compliance with each part of this agreement extends throughout the period of her sentence, and failure to abide by any of the terms of the agreement is a violation of the agreement. Defendant further understands that in the event she violates this agreement, the government at its option, right there is at its option. At its option is just like in perpetuity. You know what I mean? It's whenever we feel like it, for however long we feel like it, forever. Agreement, the government at its option may move to vacate the agreement, rendering it null and void, and thereafter prosecute defendant not subject to any of the limits set forth in this agreement, or may move to resentence defendant or require defendant's specific performance of this agreement. Defendant understands and agrees that in the event that the court permits defendant to withdraw from this agreement, or defendant breaches any of its terms and the government elects to void the agreement and prosecute defendant, any prosecutions that are not time barred by the applicable statute of limitations on the date of the signing of this agreement may be commenced against defendant in accordance with this paragraph, notwithstanding the expiration of the statute of limitations between the signing of this agreement and the commencement of such prosecutions. 11. Should the judge refuse to accept the defendant's plea of guilty, this agreement shall become null and void, and neither party will be bound to it. Number 12. Defendant and her attorney acknowledge that no threats, promises, or representations have been made nor agreements reached other than those set forth in this agreement to cause defendant to plead guilty. So she wasn't pressed, aka we didn't press her. Number 13, defendant acknowledges that she has read this agreement and carefully reviewed each provision with her attorney. Defendant further acknowledges she understands and voluntarily accepts each and every term and condition of this agreement. There you have it, y'all. That is the plea agreement of Valerie Flores. All right, we got through it. There you have it. Let's see. 4.2 million turned in, 2.3 played with, and could have been worse. But it's pretty bad, but it could have been worse. Because the way you look at these sentencing levels, whew, definitely levels to it. All right? But, again, I think it's unjust that they're in there for the time that they're in. People with real cases and real charges involved in this whole scenario stopped in to the joint, had a cup of coffee, and bounced. There's some kind of vendetta settling going on here, all right? But on that note, free the wives, and salutes to y'all. All right. We did that. We did that. What's popping? Smoke them if you got them. What time is it? Tis the 8:30. 8:30 here in my city. Got people telling me in the comments I'm gonna get smoked. They say I'm gonna get smoked for outing PDF files. So be it, bitches. All right. Death to all PDF files. Upper Echelon said, bruh, can you see it's not worth it? Yeah, it's not worth it. I mean, if you're going to give them the time, you might as well, have a day job than fucking try to do anything that's going to get them to take every single right and, take away your time from you, take away your family from you. So Upper Echelon said, bruh, can you see it's not worth it? Definitely not worth it. So what you gonna say? Wouldn't it be hard to switch old bills? I don't remember if they switched in '08. It says in this that Armando switched bills. I don't know how many bills. Peter said, yeah, definitely not worth it. But when people pour, that's all they got. Yeah, but there's a difference between surviving your poverty and balling out of control. You know what I'm saying, Peter? There's a difference. Vernon Heim said, definitely not worth it. Upper Echelon said, even when you beat the streets, we will do more time for having the bag than trying to get it. There it is. There it is. Even when you beat the streets, we will do more time for having the bag than trying to get it. I mean, just the fact that so many rug dealers and hustlers are in the penitentiary doing these crazy football numbers that these PDF files are not doing, or that these murderers are not doing, or that these grapists are not doing. Them dudes get out right away. You sell dope, you doing 30, 40 years. Like, miss me with that. All right? As a humanity, we got it all fucked up. We're all fucked up. Upper Echelon said, yes, been there. And poverty will keep you safe and at home. Poor people get by, bro. Yeah, they live. They mind their business. Keep their head to, keep their eyeballs to themselves. Vernon Hines said, can't wait for the movie or the shows to pop off. Facts. Can't wait for the movie or shows to come out. Salutes Perfecto J. He said, know that you're loved. That's his joint. Know that you're loved. All right. Let's get to the next hell yeah. Let's get to the next order of business. It's the money, bro. People do it forever. That's cool. As long as they know that there's consequences that come with it. Again, man, if there's a way in this, I don't think everything goes hand in hand, right? Like, you could have the problem is greed. At the end of the day, greed is going to create violence. It ain't the hustle that you're in. It's just the greed of the human that's going to create the violence. And if there wasn't innocent victims that got caught up in the mix, I ain't got no problem with anybody getting money however they can get it, as long as they ain't making no victims, and as long as they ain't, hurting children or old people. You know what I mean? Like, but But at the end of the day, greed always brings forth violence and evil men that are willing to hurt you and your family. Which takes us to our next story. So, a couple of hours before I was going to jump on an airplane and take my trip, and I was going to, amongst other places, I was going to be in Winter Springs. Rilo said the game is over, done. Road to financial freedom. DJ 20s with the check-in. Salutes to DJ 20s on the check-in. Road to financial freedom. All right. Appreciate you. Here we go. So yeah, so right before I flew out and I was gonna go to Winter Springs in Florida, I get in the group chat, my sister-in-law had dropped a video, and it was a video of somebody doing a carjacking in Winter Springs, right? And it was like, carjacking in Winter Springs, like, okay. And that story has evolved and turned into something crazy, which is why I'm covering it right now. It's still happening right now. Again, Jorge Castillo brought up that there's a Chicago story that needs to be told, and I will tell that story. But everybody needs to understand I'm the program director here. I do it on my time when I can do it. When things are easy for me to do, I do them so that we got content coming out. But when there's something that I really want to sit down and get into, I want to give it its own live. I want to give it its own, respect. So I need more time to handle that. And again, it's been a chaotic week. But this right here is still happening. So it started off as a simple carjacking. And I had seen it in just like a real video. Maybe this is the raw video. It's like 47 seconds here. Maybe it's the same video I saw. Yeah, it is. This is from the car. This is from the car that's behind, 2 cars behind. All right, here we go. All right. Supposedly, buddy jumped out of this green car, walked up to this white car, and he put the thing to it. He opened the back seat, got in behind her. Not your typical carjacking. Not your typical, whip her out the whip or throw her on the other side of the car on the passenger side and take the driver's seat. Nah. Buddy got in the back seat behind her. Now, when I first saw it, I didn't realize that this car was with the guy. So my thought was, whoever this is should probably ram that truck into traffic if it's possible, as best as it can. It would have caused some shit, instead of him just driving off with old girl. Because again, let me see, through this whole thing, they're stuck at this light, there's people turning. That would have definitely been an accident. So if this was a civilian car that could have gone a little reverse and put him into the intersection, that might have created some shit, But I didn't realize at the time, Right? So there you have it. They drove off with her, right? Cool. So that was all I had seen at the time. And then my brother, so we got into the smoke session, started telling me what was happening with the rest of the story. Shout out HS on the check-in. Salutes to you. Smoking Guns Custom said, why don't them big pharma families get that time? Yeah, that'll never happen. I think you're a little bit behind on the in the live though, smoking guns. So that was all I saw. So I want to get the earliest news coverage of this, which would have been 6 days ago. That's what I want to see first. I don't want to get the updated stuff yet. Salutes HS on the check-in. What up, chat? Shout to Upper Echelon. Eddie Jimenez on the check-in. Salutes to you, sir. Appreciate you for being here. All right. Boom. So I want to get the first news story from 6 days ago that talks about this, rather than today's news story. We're gonna go through, how it went down. All right. There we go.
Also breaking right now, this disturbing video shows a woman being carjacked in Seminole County. Just minutes ago, we received the 911 call from the person who initially called for help. Take a listen.
No, the guy had a machine gun and got the guy to open the door and was pointing the gun at him. And then he got in the back seat of the car. And then the car that was chasing them did a U-turn and they went back towards 1792.
The guy had a machine gun and got the guy to open the door, was pointing the gun at him. Then he got in the back seat of the car that was chasing them. Huh? Did a U-turn and they went backwards to 1792. And again, why nobody didn't follow them? You see all that, like, I don't know, I guess people don't want to get involved. It is what it is.
Deputies now believe that victim was killed after they found a body inside of a burned out SUV. Fox.
So that was more my brother's. I was like, wait a minute. He was like, yeah, I think that person got unalived. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. And I was like, there's more to that story. Something's going down.
35's Matt Trezza is live in Sanford, where the sheriff just spoke about this case. Matt, what is the latest?
Yeah, well, in this case, Seminole County deputies are praising the Good Samaritans who shot that video, the people who saw something and said something and captured on video the moment that deputies say the bad guy got into the victim's car. The video is dramatic. Deputies say a man with a weapon gets out of the green car and walks to the white SUV in front of it. He aims what appears to be a gun at Catherine Aguas Vivas' window, then reaches inside and gets into the back seat. The light turns green and both vehicles make a U-turn. Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lima says it was the start of a nearly 2-hour journey that ended with deputies finding the smoldering remains of an SUV and a body inside.
There was so much damage to the vehicle, you could not positively identify the vehicle, but they also discovered that one person was deceased and found in that vehicle.
Lima says they believe the body is that of Aguas Vivas, but they're waiting for DNA and dental evidence to confirm it. He says her odyssey started in South Florida and she drove north to Seminole County. The video was shot at the intersection of East Lake Drive and Tuscaloosa Road.
About a half a mile or so prior to that intersection, she started to notice that the green Acura was behind her, and the Acura was actually ramming into her back bumper at that time.
Lima says after the masked man got into Aguas Vivas' SUV, they drove south on 417 to Boggy Creek Road in Osceola County, not far from a construction site.
So he chased her for some distance, tapping the car like, I don't know how to, it's a woman. How do you react to that? It was targeted. They following her. They didn't want that car, evidently.
Not so far away that eyewitnesses could not report hearing gunshots.
After that, deputies found the burned-out SUV with 10mm shell casings inside. We talked with former Orlando Police Chief Orlando Rolone about this case.
Why gunshots? Like, y'all jack some chick. Y'all got her whip. You got her in the whip. You take off. You sending a message. You're gonna shoot up the whip and set it on fire. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't get it. Salutes Adrian Torres on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for popping up. Right, everybody that's in here, please hit the like button. IB said, how much did the Purdue family get? Or did none of them actually go to jail? Damn, never mind. I thought at least one went to prison. None were ever criminally charged. They agreed to contribute $6 billion to fighting the opioid crisis. And where's the opioid crisis today? This country's in dire straits. Because everybody that thinks they're not a rug addict is absolutely a rug addict. Pillhead. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they'll judge the ones at the bottom, but they don't want to judge the ones in the suits. Fuck out of here, man. All right. Boom. But yeah, this is looking funny, man. So this is where we are as far as events. They tapping her, following her, tapping her. They end up getting out the car. They put the hammer to her, and they open the back seat and get behind her. She don't run up. She don't drive off. Again, I don't expect her to have any tactical thinking. Or sometimes, I don't know, man, but didn't look good. Didn't look good.
He says investigators are putting the pieces together.
Hopefully, by now, cell phone data, vehicle data, because again, everything is connected these days, especially if the cars are newer. Hopefully, it has led them to something that will allow and will shed some light as to what exactly happened in this case.
Seminole County deputies are at this point still searching for the suspects and that green Acura, and they're asking for your help. Anybody who has any information about its whereabouts or the suspect are urged to give the Seminole County Sheriff's Office or Crime Line a call.
All right, but this gets crazier than this. This gets way crazier than this. Mind you, the young lady, last name Aguas Vivas, which means living waters, she is found unalived in a burning car with hammer shells all around it. Who understands that? So now I'm gonna go to 5 days ago. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to get this chronologically, but let's stick with Fox 35 Orlando quickly. IB said probably meant invest $6 billion into treatment centers. Yes, treatment centers. They trying to flip that $6 billion. All right, let me find. This is 10 days ago. All right, we got 6 days ago here. It's the same one. They uploaded it twice, which I don't understand. I'm looking for the rest of this story. Seminole County carjacking. Sheriff Dennis Lima press conference on carjacking. This is 3 days ago. Let's see what this goofy got to say.
I chose Wix for my...
You gotta relax.
Out for an update on the murder investigation involving Catherine Aguas. Thank you so much for coming out for an update on the murder investigation involving Catherine Aguas Vivas that happened on April 11th, which has
This
been
is 3 days later.
Two large updates that I'll provide today, and at the end, I'll open myself for any questions. As I've said in the early briefings of this, is an ongoing investigation, and I think that timely delivery, as much information as we can, is incredibly important. The first is we're no longer looking for a green 2002 Acura. We've located that vehicle. The circumstances leading up to that are one that I'll describe out now, that the car was legitimately owned by a family in Winter Springs. They sold that to a legitimate car dealership back in December. Sold the car or traded the car in. As car dealerships typically do, they traded off to an auto auction. It went to an auto auction and then ultimately was purchased by a buy here, pay here owner operator who sold it from their lot in Seminole County. They sold it. It was still titled to the original owners in Winter Springs. It had not had enough time to work out the transfer of title.
Right, that whip went through a bunch of hands. That whip went through a bunch of hands quick.
To work out the transfer of title. And the people who purchased the car never came back to finish the additional paperwork. They still owed the person money. So the car has been out on the streets probably since February, unregistered, undocumented with a license plate. Any license plate that it had on at any given time was just temporarily put on, largely from a stolen tag. What's unique about a 2002 green Acura in the state of Florida, there were only 3 in the state of Florida. 2 had been salvaged and only 1 existed in the state.
2 of those green Acuras in a junkyard and 1 in the whole state. So you most literally looking for like a Dalmatian needle in a haystack and shit.
When we look at records, the first time authorities came in contact with this was when it was towed on March 19th from an Orlando apartment complex. The car was backed in, parked illegally, probably had no tag on it at the time, and it was towed from an Orange County apartment complex on March 19th. The tow truck driver of that particular tow of this vehicle was a murder victim in Orange County that happened 1 day before our kidnapping murder. April 10th, a tow truck driver was murdered in Orange County. At that scene, a green vehicle matching the description of this green vehicle was located, and there was more than 100 rounds fired at that location. One of the rounds found at the scene were 10mm rounds.
Wait, what? Where? At the tow joint?
And there was more than 100
Hoso said this just gets crazier and crazier. Hold on.
April 10th, a tow truck driver was murdered in Orange County, being a murder victim in Orange County, on it at the time, and it was towed from an Orange County apartment complex on March 19th.
Okay.
The tow truck driver of that particular tow of this vehicle was a murder victim in Orange County that happened 1 day before our kidnapping murder. April 10th, a tow truck driver was murdered in Orange County. At that scene, a green vehicle matching the description of this green vehicle was located, and there was more than 100 rounds fired at that location. One of the rounds found at the scene were 10mm rounds, which is, again, an incredibly unique and uncommon round for us to see out on the streets. As you can imagine, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, this is their case. They've been working this thing aggressively, and they have been partnering with our organization on the murder investigation that we're looking into with Catherine to connect the dots between the 2 locations.
Bruh, this is some. So, the car got towed from an apartment complex on the 19th. The tow truck driver gets smoked the day before old girl gets carjacked. 10mm shells all over the place there. 10mm shells all over the place by this burning car that old girl was supposedly in.
We were able to locate.
But let's say how they get that green car out from the tow. I don't know. I'm still confused. We're going to get there, though.
This vehicle just recently that we're looking into with Catherine to connect the dots between the 2 locations. We were able to locate this vehicle just recently on Saturday, April 13th, 1 day after we had the news conference announcing that we were investigating a murder. It once again was parked and abandoned in an Orange County apartment complex and was towed through a contractual tow service. When a tow service tows a vehicle that is illegally parked in an apartment complex, they have a responsibility to contact either the tag or through VIN to report into a system. That is how the VIN number was identified. Again, the VIN number was unique because there was only one 2002 green Acura left in the state of Florida. When the VIN number ran, we immediately knew it was our car. That vehicle then was collected, transferred to the Orange County Sheriff's Office to be evaluated for evidence with the Orange County team.
So it got towed again after all of that. I mean, they had to have bleached the inside of that car. If they left one print on that car, then this whole crazy movie shit that's going on here was nothing.
And the Seminole County team. So no longer looking for the car.
All right, got it.
We still are looking for information about people who are occupants in the car, whether at the Orange County case or our case. That part of the process is ongoing. But again, we want to thank everyone's help who have called in, reached out to Crime Line, done whatever, and especially the media for getting that information out.
Before our very important FBC
Sure, that's up, boy.
deadline, I'm asking you to support us.
Second part that I want to brief up on is an Orange County deputy was arrested by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Francisco Estrella was arrested last night by our agency. Now, when this initial report of the kidnapping was made, our detectives saw, as the public saw, the phone number on the rear window of that vehicle. When we called that phone number in the early stages of the investigation, the decedent's husband picked up the phone, came back to him. We identified ourselves. We had one of our detectives say who we were, what we were looking at, and that's how we disclosed that we were working a kidnapping case. Both the decedent's wife, Miguel, and her brother, Louis, who live in Homestead, provided whatever information they could on the phone.
The decedent's husband. He fucked that up. He meant the decedent's husband.
And then agreed to travel up here to Seminole County. As they were traveling up here to Seminole County, Miguel and Louis reached out to a mutual friend, a childhood friend as it's described, who happens to be the Orange County deputy's wife. The wife of the Orange County deputy reached out and said, I've been contacted by this person who's identified by name as a detective with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Can you find out whatever information you can about this particular person? The deputy then picks up the phone, calls our detective, and gives a false name and identifies himself as a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
What?
Wanting to get information about this case. Later in that conversation, he actually says he's a deputy sheriff, but for the entire time, he's giving a fake name as he's communicating with our folks. And our detectives, obviously...
IB said, doesn't sound random. Smoking Gun said, definitely not random. Yo! So, all right. But let's say, yo, rewind that. I'm getting confused. Yo! Hold on. I think I got a breakdown here. All right? Yo, what the fuck is happening in Winter Springs? Okay, so we got the girl. All right, let's start from the beginning. Car gets towed in March. Tow truck driver gets aired out. I guess they escaped the car from him. They rescued the car from him, right? The day after he gets smoked, they're ramming this lady up and down the street. She don't know what to do. They up hammer on her. They tell her to get, no. They up hammer on her. They open the back door. They get behind her. They take off. They find that car burnt, her in it, unalived. And there's also 10mm shells in that area. Police are investigating. They find the car, the green Acura. They call the phone number on the back of the original car that got jacked because it was for sale. It had a phone number. They get in contact with the deceased woman's husband. And he says, and he cooperates, and her brother cooperates. The sheriff tells them, come on down so we could talk. They said, cool, right? Then they reached out to a woman that they know who has a husband that's a deputy. And the husband puts supposedly they asked him to, they say, hey man, I got this investigator looking for me. Can you go look in and see what they talking about with this situation here, what they know, right? That's the way he frames it, right? So the deputy goes and he lies and says he's a deputy sheriff and he's somebody else. So he uses somebody else's credentials to get into the system and get information, and they done locked his dumb ass up. All right? I think that's where we're at right now. Y'all tell me in the chats if I'm wrong. Hundreds up if I'm right. I'm throwing my hundreds up right now. Because what the fuck is going on here? All right? Yo, it's crazy. What the fuck? All right, here we go. So yeah, he was a deputy, but he wasn't a detective. He used somebody else's connect. He worked for the police. He was a police, but he wasn't the police he said he was that got that sensitive information and they done locked his dumb ass up. But that right there makes it all a little clearer. All right, here we go. We going back in.
Thought that communication was strange, but for the entire time, he's later in that conversation, he actually says he's a deputy sheriff, but for the entire time, he's giving a fake name as he's communicating with our folks, and our detectives obviously thought that communication was strange, especially the timeliness of it, just hours after we have identified that we're working a homicide case here. In addition to that,
right, like bro. Just used a fake name, but he also said he was a sheriff because he wasn't a sheriff. He was probably just a peon. But think about this, bro. Your wife just got unalived, right? What you worried about talking to detectives for? Why you want to know what's going on over there? That ain't usually what a person that ain't up to no good does. When it's brought to your attention that, hey man, we need to talk to you because someone bad with your wife, right? And where did he say they were from? Give me a sec.
Our detective and whatever.
I'm gonna play it again too, because y'all want to. I'm gonna play this part again too.
So today's the day. I've got my RTA mock system.
Cool ass grill, bro. Appliance. He needs an El Guapo apron. For those that know, you can get you an El Guapo apron at the Il Shop. All right, Il Shop is right here. It's tagged in the. It's in there somewhere. Just talking about shit. Wow.
Especially the media for getting that information out. Second part that I want to brief up on is an Orange County deputy was arrested by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
So he is a deputy, all right? He's definitely a deputy. But let's say if that don't raise no flags, I don't know. Okay. Smoking Gun say he's an Orange County deputy sheriff. Wildin', boy. Wildin'.
Francisco Estrella was arrested last night by our agency. Now, when this initial report of the kidnapping was made, our detectives saw, as the public saw, the phone number on the rear window of that vehicle. When we called that phone number in the early stages of the investigation, the decedent's husband picked up the phone, came back to him. We identified ourselves. We had one of our detectives say who we were, what we were looking at, and that's how we disclosed that we were working a kidnapping case. Both the decedent's wife, Miguel, and her brother, Louis, who live in Homestead, provided whatever information they could.
Where's Homestead?
And then agreed to travel up here to Seminole County. As they were traveling up here to Seminole County, Miguel and Lewis reached out to a mutual friend, a childhood friend as it's described, who happens to be the Orange County deputy's wife. The wife of the Orange County deputy reached out and said, I've been contacted by this person who's identified by name as a detective with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Can you find out whatever information you can about this particular person? The deputy then picks up the phone, calls our detective, and gives a false name and identifies himself as a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, wanting to get information about this case. Later in that conversation, he actually says he's a deputy sheriff, but for the entire time, he's giving a fake name as he's communicating with our folks, and our detectives obviously thought that communication was strange, especially the timeliness of it, just hours after we have identified that we're working a homicide case here.
Of your wife?
In addition to that, we knew that the Orange County deputy and wife accessed illegally the Florida David system and pulled up the unique characteristics, home address, photographs, signatures of our primary detective working the case, and all of the communication between the Orange County deputy and our detective working the case was then recorded, all communicated back to the decedent's husband, who was on his way here.
What the fuck? Go Buck said, down by the keys. Smoking Gun said, in Orlando, deputy sheriffs work parts of Orlando alongside OPD. He just said he was a detective, but he used his real first name. That shit still confuses the shit out of me, what you're saying to me right there. Smoking Gun said, Miami area. Go Buck said, I live in South Florida. But let's say, okay, that makes sense. So they live in Homestead, Miami area. What's she doing up there by herself?
When he was here, I had mentioned in the briefing on Friday that he has been cooperative. He has provided, to the extent that he feels comfortable with, what was going on Friday. I think when I laid out those circumstances, I said that her vehicle was being rammed by the vehicle behind her. They didn't call 911. He didn't call 911. And then her phone looked like it was immediately turned off after that. So he's on his way up here. He is contacting.
Miss me with that phone turned off after that shit, because if you watch that Navy SEAL, Ryan, whatever his face is, I can't remember his name right now, he had that hacker on. Them people said you get to a certain level, you don't need with this technology, you don't even need to have your phone on or a battery in it or a phone smashed. So I don't know what happened.
Whoever he can, and he cooperates to the extent that he feels comfortable with. Part of that cooperation is he gives us his phone. We ask for his phone, he gives us his phone, we forensically examine that phone, and that's how we found the communication between the Orange County deputy and his wife and him. It came through the examination of that phone. That is why he has now been charged with.
Wait a minute. So wait. Sean Ryan, there it is. Who's been arrested? The sheriff that was investigating the case, or the Orange County deputy? It's a lot.
5 felonies here in Seminole County.
It's a lot, and I just read a long ass legal document.
2 of those felonies through the examination of that phone. That is why he has now been charged with 5 felonies here in Seminole County.
Damn.
2 of those felonies deal with recording and releasing the audio file of the detective's conversation with him. 2 of those charges relate to unlawfully accessing a police database, and particularly the David system that released unique characteristics of the home address, the photograph and signatures of the lead investigator in this case. And then the last charge.
Okay, Smoking Gun said the Orange County deputy got arrested. Deputy was arrested after he examined the phone. Okay. By Seminole County. Got it.
is the lead investigator in this case, the home address, the photograph.
So they had a drop on the lead investigator is basically what we're saying here. They had the drop on the lead investigator. What? IB said this story gives me learning disabilities. Yo, this is crazy.
And signatures of the lead investigator in this case. And then the last charge is the use of a two-way communication device in the commission of these felonies. He has just gone through first appearance at 2 o'clock here in Seminole County today. I don't know any of the details about what happened during that first appearance hearing. We were working with our detectives on the inside here. So, a lot of updates. We still have incredibly dangerous people that are out there on the streets. We still want to encourage our public to again, not approach these individuals. They should be perceived as armed and dangerous. Anybody who has any information about the occupants of this incredibly rare vehicle here in the state of Florida should contact authorities, either the Orange County Sheriff's Office or the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, or if you feel more comfortable, Crime Line, where you could be eligible for a reward and remain anonymous as we go. Again, with that, I'll open for any questions about the additional information that we're briefing on today.
Go Buck said heavy Mexican population in Homestead. Yeah, Aguas Vivas kind of says that too. This is getting, let's not jump to conclusions here, but this is getting, it's becoming a familiar scenario here. Let's see what happens. What this fool shut up. Can't even hear what he's asking.
So it's either connected or it's a heck of a coincidence, right? I think that what we need to do is to
that ain't no
sure
motherfucking coincidence.
Physical evidence and evaluation and reports can positively make that connection. But what we do know now is this vehicle, our suspect's vehicle by unique VIN number, was towed back on March 19th from the murder victim. At the scene, there are more than 100 rounds, but a good percentage of those rounds on the ground are 10 millimeter, the gun used in the murder of our victim that we found burnt up in the vehicle in Osceola County. So I absolutely think they're connected.
And I want to know more about this tow truck situation, because he's saying that he towed the vehicle. What, when he was towing the vehicle, this turned into a shootout? Like, what are we talking about here?
We'll have to have physical evidence that absolutely proves that.
When that shooting happened on Wednesday, and again, there's a lot of moving parts here, so I want to make sure for clarity. That car wasn't on the scene and tapped last Wednesday. That car was towed 2 or 3 weeks before that, right?
And then released. So what we have, and I don't want to get too far into the Orange County investigation, although they are working hand in glove with our detectives here, but a green vehicle was seen at that location. It seems like it was towed back in March, ultimately released on the scene of this particular crime. So we think the green vehicle was there at the murder scene.
Okay.
In the Orange County murder scene?
Yes.
Secondly, so this conversation with this deputy to your detective...
It still doesn't say, was it released to these guys and they got into a shootout? Did they go in there to steal the whip? They're not giving the date. Well, they're saying it was the day before. That the tow truck driver got hit the day before, old girl. And where was that at?
Reporting without that detective's permission, sharing with the husband. Clearly, you guys have filed criminal charges in that case. Has this impeded your investigation, in your opinion?
So you know, we're talking about the deputy's involvement. It has no negative involvement in our investigation, but absolutely creates a dangerous environment for our deputies and our staff. You know, we know that this deputy relayed this information to the decedent's husband, Miguel. But at this point in time, we don't know who else he may have shared that information with. And I think that any person who's ever turned on the TV, seen the things that are incredibly challenging out there, and find out the unique, bizarre characteristic of these cases, I don't know that any of us will want our names and our home addresses released, especially if we had a responsibility to enforce and hold the violators of this accountable. So I think we're incredibly concerned, but the involvement of the Orange County deputy does not slow us down at all and does not have negative effect on the case that we're working.
What he was trying to do, what was that deputy trying to gain from going and looking that up?
Well, that's going to be a great part of what I hope the ongoing investigation is, both here and I know independently Orange County would conduct their own administrative investigation, but we know that, or we believe that they were childhood friends. Of course, there was a relationship with there, but what they had to gain is something that I'm incredibly interested in. Why would somebody do this? Why would they put their own job and life on the line to communicate with one of our detectives, to give an alias in the process? Now, he's been an Orange County deputy for 1 year. But to give an alias in the process, never knowing that Miguel, the decedent's husband, is going to release his phone, if he didn't release the phone, I don't know we would ever know this. So this is it's incredibly frightening.
So the decedent husband's phone is what blew it up, not the detective that the other cop called. If the decedent's husband's phone blew him up, that means he blew up his own information connect. This is strange.
And but I suspect we'll find a lot more about this as the investigation goes on. This is just last night we arrested him.
Forgive me if you said this and I missed it, trying to follow this all. How much detail did your investigators give this deputy, or non-detailed?
Yeah. So as soon as our detectives received this call from the Orange County detective, as he called himself, they were immediately on alert and very suspicious of the communication, and really gave him nothing, absolutely nothing. But as soon as that happened and they hung up the phone, trust me, that was a topic of conversation in the room. What was that about? This stands out and is incredibly suspicious. When they later contacted the Orange County Sheriff's Office, they're like, we don't have a deputy with that last name nor a detective, but we have a phone number that is connected with somebody. Actually, interestingly enough, he gave the same first name, but just gave a different last name.
Given the extreme details of both of these situations that we're now actually talking about,
If you can't donate today, don't even think about it. I know times are tough because Joe Biden has absolutely destroyed our country in so many.
Listen, they both could kiss my entire ass.
Well, I think that any person who looks at these circumstances would automatically go there. And our investigation is also exploring any possibilities of that. But at this point in time, I'm not ready to turn that rock over and disclose whether or not we're going to do that. Trust me, when and if that becomes a topic here, you'll see me standing right here and telling as much information as you can. But when you look at this thing, I mean, this is right out of a television show, right? You see this thing, there's a lot of bizarre circumstances here, and now to have this vehicle connected, unique characteristics, the rareness of the vehicle. So, not yet.
in the arrest report for the Orange County deputy, the word cousin came up, that he was in some way a cousin of the woman who was carjacked and then later found in Osceola County. You believe that's her. You're saying a family friend. Was he throwing around the word cousin to try to gain credibility, or was there actually a relationship?
Dave, I don't know if there's an actual relationship. What I'm finding with this particular case, there's a lot of referring to friends as family. I gave a news conference on Friday, and I said we have not been able to locate any family members in the area. We now have since located, we believe, two, one in Volusia County and one in Osceola County. Neither one of them were expecting a visit from her, and where she was at was nowhere near where they were at. So I don't know if they're biologically related, if they're related through marriage, or they're just...
They're on that Latino shit. That's my prima, my tia. my primo hermano.
Close friends that call themselves cousins. We're not at that point yet where we can identify that. We do believe that they grew up together, possibly in the Dominican Republic, before coming over here. So that's largely the decedent's husband and the deputy's wife.
Dominican.
Well, we have no idea why she's here. We know that she was here for less than an hour. We have no evidence of her ever being in Seminole County ever before. We believe that she was absolutely targeted and followed to a certain extent, to a certain point. And I think that one of the most important things that for us to get out on Friday was this was not a random act of violence that occurred, that she absolutely was targeted. Why she was targeted, I think, is something that our detectives are working aggressively to be able to answer that.
Broad daylight, ski masked up. She got a giant white truck with giant white phone number on the back of it. Wildin'. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so.
Question. Of course, when you're in this business, you have speculations, you have hunches, you have feelings, but you never let those arrive at the lectern before you can put some evidence behind it. So again, they're going to turn every rock over to find out. So I've described the husband as cooperative. Quite frankly, I think he knows a lot more than what he shared.
Facts.
You don't have your wife communicate with you that you're getting rammed by a car and go 2 hours without calling anybody. So he has cooperated.
So she's telling him she's getting rammed and he don't call nobody? I don't know, buddy.
Has provided information. I think the initial story was that she was up here to visit family members. I don't know that we believe that.
Debunked.
He did give his cell phone, which I'm incredibly grateful, because we would not have known about the Orange County death.
He probably was in a panic and didn't know no better than to just give up his cell phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm caught. Because your wife is telling you she's getting rammed. No diddy. And you didn't call authorities? You didn't. That's because you didn't want authorities involved. Same way you didn't want them involved when they called your phone number on the back of that window and you called your prima hermana to have your primo hermano get in there and, pull some illegalities to get you some information. Everybody's going to jail. And it sounds like there's some money on somebody's head.
At least not yet, if he did not do that. But I think that there's a lot more blanks that he could help fill in about the circumstances involving this particular crime and now potentially other crimes.
Is he a person of interest in what happened?
He is not. He is still the husband of our decedent and working with our detectives. He is not a person of...
Velez said, damn, sounds like she got set up to be far from home. You know, maybe it was over with for the wife. As far as maybe he was tired of being married.
Interest.
You said the 10 millimeter that was found is not really common around here.
Yeah.
What does that say? Is that worrisome for you guys? Like the weapon or the casing was found
the caliber of the weapon is not worrisome, right? The fact that there's 100 rounds, regardless of what rounds they are, at a murder scene, I think, is incredibly alarming to any person who ever looks at it. A 10 millimeter is just, a round that is more rare than the 9 millimeters or the 45 calibers that we see out there. The only significance of that is it makes a better connection between the two crimes. That because of the rareness of the weapon and the round, that it's
and the
likely
cars that are involved in
our bad guys are the same bad guys that committed this crime. And you got to remember that this vehicle for 2 months, February into April, was probably being tossed around. Now, I know people are going to say, well, just find out who picked up the car and all that, but, they send people who are innocent parties, and they say, hey, I need you to go down there and pick up this vehicle.
Same thing with the Triple Extentacion unaliving. They had got somebody to rent them a whip. Velez said they want you gone if they shooting 100 rounds. That's why I'm thinking whoever would have pushed them into traffic better have been carrying heavy. You know what I'm saying? In my little plan of creating some kind of chaos because them boys were strapped up.
going to give you $500, $1,000, pick it up. So it's not as simple of just look for the guy who did that. But again, our detectives are working on that. Who purchased it, who made the deal, who went to the buy here, pay here store. But these are more sophisticated criminal operations, and this one appears to be pretty significant. But yeah, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go. But I think that when you look at between Friday and now, there's a lot of different pieces to the puzzles that are coming together.
A bunch of pieces to a puzzle that nobody knew existed.
There you go. No, the husband is not a person of interest and not a suspect, and not
I think we think he a suspect, y'all.
likely to be charged in this case at this point. But I may come up here tomorrow with a whole new information.
I was just going to say that.
Somebody who's watching this video, somebody who has some additional information, or connecting some case evidence to other cases that may be out there. Again, but to recap, we have the car. The car's in evidence. The car is being processed. Actually, it's good that we have the car, right? You potentially can get some evidence from it, but we'll see where that goes. Dave.
This is such a confusing thing. I just want to make sure that this is kind of for my clarity. You're saying this Deputy Sheriff of North County contacted your detective, recorded that conversation illegally, and then passed it on to the husband to kind of keep you up to date on what your investigation is doing.
Yeah, so our detective calls the phone number, the husband of the decedent answers the phone, and then reaches out to a family friend close to law enforcement, the wife of the deputy. And then literally sitting in their home, they call our deputy, they record that communication to our deputy, probably doing it on speakerphone or something like that, so all the communication can be heard. Then the deputy accesses his unique police system, pulls up as much information.
Even as concise and clear as he's saying it here, there's still the shit that comes up vague in there. Hold on, man. In there, so they call their friend. What? One more time, y'all. Because this shit ain't making sense.
Close to law enforcement, the phone. Yeah, so our detective calls the phone number, the husband of the decedent answers the phone, and then reaches out to a family friend close to law enforcement, the wife of the deputy. And then literally sitting in their home, they call our deputy, they record that communication to our deputy, probably doing it on speakerphone or something like that, so all the communication can be heard. Then the deputy accesses his unique police system, pulls up as much information about our detective that they just recorded on the phone, takes photographs of that, and sends it to the husband before he ever arrives here for the interview.
Okay.
So he's on his way up here with her brother, and at the time that they're driving here, they're getting fed all this information from the Orange County deputy. Here's where she lives. Here's the detective's name. Here's a recording of our conversation.
He's bogus. He's bogus because he just outed the detective as a she.
So he's feeding all that information back. Why? We're going to find out. But any other questions?
A million.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, I mean, our detective is protected. The detective is pretty tough by themselves, but we have additional units and sections. The last place that anybody would want to go is around this detective right now. I can promise you that.
You mean her, because you just outed her, because you said where she lives. You fucked up.
Why is all that information there to begin with? Is the information on every detective in that?
Velez also said what a clusterfuck, and Velez said were they gonna hit the detective too? They had the information to do so. They had the information for it to do so. Who knows what they need to ask? They're gonna ask. Buddy's driving there like, this is fucking weird. Because it doesn't it sound criminal in itself to these police that this dude is telling somebody else to find out about this detective? They're not saying that he's a person of interest, and they're not paying him no mind. You know why? Because he's on their way up there, and they don't want to spook him. They want him to get there before they put the light on him and be like, all right, what's really going on? So why did you call your cousin to have her husband call this detective and say he's a sheriff and him record the conversation and then get all the information he can on this detective? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? It's a movie shit indeed.
Well, every citizen. It's actually your driver's license system. You know, we've had some reports of misuse of what's called the DAVID system, the driver's license information system. And this is a prime example of misusing it, not just from an average citizen, but for a law enforcement official working this particular case. So.
Is the police in contact involved in the investigation of any search warrant over there?
We're not doing any search warrants. Again, the husband is not a suspect, but the authorities down there in South Florida have been helpful and have been partners with us as we move throughout this case. Again, we're not working any criminal case down there, but if we do, I promise you, you're going to be the second to know behind our team. So.
Any message for anybody that was potentially connected? They went after the tow truck driver potentially leak samples from his car. Are you worried that there might be others out there that need to get in touch with you because they could be in harm's way right now?
Yeah, I think that the question is, you know, could there be others that are in harm's way? I hope that somebody that's listening and seeing this, that feels like that they may be in harm's way, to contact us and tell us.
Everybody's in harm's way, man. This is a crazy scenario going down.
Everything that they possibly know, and seek a safe haven of protection with coming forward and disclosing as much information as they possibly can. But again, we're going to backtrack and connect some of the cases that are open in probably a lot of different jurisdictions, and be mindful of kind of the aftermath of how this thing evolves. So that's today's update. I appreciate it, and talk to you guys soon.
Let's see what else we can find. Salutes, hundreds up to y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. This is a crazy ass story. They wildin'. Smoking Gun said anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Talking about everybody's safe right now. Nah, ain't nobody safe, bruh. It's going down right now. Let me see. Let me see what else they got. 6 days, 5 days, no, 3 days. And since then, nothing on this channel, nothing on this YouTube channel for that story. But I thought they had somebody in custody. Let me see. Go back again. Let's go to 2 days ago. Here we go. Let's see if this is the same press conference. 6 days. It's all happening fast as hell. This is 2 days ago, so let's see if there's anything on the case.
Are you a STEM professional?
Look at this jerk off.
South Florida woman carjacked. A twisted saga of a South Florida woman carjacked at gunpoint, then murdered in Central Florida. Right now, the search for suspects is ongoing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Wormuth.
I'm Bridget Ellison, and deputies say they found the green car seen in that video where Catherine Aguavivas was carjacked last week near Winter Springs before it's believed she was murdered. Now, Ezzy Castro breaks down the latest details in this crazy story.
Seminole County Sheriff
Hold on,
Dennis
man. That
Lima
fool had on black
released
Air Force
new
Ones.
details
We got to stop stereotyping like
about
this. Reinforcing stereotypes, man. Them look like black Air Force Ones, man.
Before it's believed she was murdered. Now, Ezzy Castro breaks down the latest details in this crazy story.
Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lima released new details about this investigation, which now involves 3 counties, Orange, Seminole, and Osceola. It also involves the arrest of an Orange County deputy, but the biggest concern are the suspects who still remain on the run. The deadly carjacking case of Catherine Aguas Vivas taking a bizarre turn. Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lima announcing yesterday the suspect car they were looking for, a green Acura, was located at an Orange County apartment complex on Saturday, though there were no signs of the suspects. He then explained that the same.
Did you see that license plate flopping in the wind?
Located at
It's
an
just a
Orange
piece of
County
paper.
apartment complex on Saturday, though there were no signs of the suspects. He then explained that the same car is tied to another shooting from last week in Taft that left a tow truck driver dead.
Bro, look at all of those
Another shooting from last week
shell
in Taft
locations.
that left a.
Damn, look at this. That's a war zone. And that was up close.
Tow truck driver dead.
April 10th, a tow truck driver was murdered in Orange County. At that scene, a green vehicle matching the description of this green vehicle was located, and there was more than 100 rounds fired at that location.
Lima then revealed an Orange County deputy, Francisco Estrella, is now facing serious charges after he allegedly released classified information to Aguas Vivas' husband.
As they were traveling up here to Seminole County, Miguel and Lewis reached out to a mutual friend, a childhood friend as it's described, who happens to be the Orange County deputy's wife.
The sheriff said Estrella contacted a Seminole County detective on the homicide case, used a false name, claiming to be a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and illegally recorded the conversation. Francisco Estrella did bond out of jail, but Orange County Sheriff John Mina released a statement about his arrest and said, quote, "It is completely unacceptable for any law enforcement officer to misuse the power and authority of their jobs." In Seminole County, Ezzy Castro, getting results, News 6.
And with the case being as complicated as it is, we have posted an updated timeline on our website. Just look right on the homepage of clickorlando.com and our mobile news app. We'll be sure to bring you the latest updates as they come in.
Wildin'. Stranger than fiction. What's happened in the last day, though? Nothing. That was 2 days ago. This is updated 1 day ago. When is this video? Let me see. Let me put today. 13 hours ago. Oh no, this is somebody covering it. Give me a second. That ain't it. So we got nothing new. 3 days ago. But we're gonna keep an eye on this story. It's starting to sound like I mean, like somebody's up to no good. They was either trying to get rid of the wifey, or this got to do with some work, or that's a whole lot of running around smoking people though these dudes is doing, but they ain't got nobody. Let me hit this search again. See if we run into anything about this, any of the court proceedings, because I thought I saw a short. Oh, here it is. Judge grants bond for deputy arrested in connection to carjacking investigation. This is 4 hours ago.
But we want to start with breaking news. The deputy arrested in connection to a carjacking investigation could walk out of jail tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. This all goes back to that broad daylight carjacking we told you about last week. This video shows 31-year-old Catherine Aguas Vivas being held at gunpoint at an intersection. The gunman got in her car and it was later found burnt with her body inside. On Sunday, Deputy Francisco Estrella was arrested for allegedly using a fake name to call detectives and get information about this case. And today, he asked a judge for bond. And apparently, he got it. News 6's Catherine Silver is live outside the Seminole County Jail tonight with more on these breaking details. Catherine?
I want to know how long it was between him getting in that car, them driving off. You know that the person that shot that tape, and amongst others, I'm sure, dialed 911 and called. what does it take to get these dudes off their ass? How long was it from the time she got carjacked to the time they find this car burnt up that y'all couldn't get? I see what Florida looks like. First of all, I didn't see many police when I did see them, and when I did see them, they was piled up in one place with all their lights on. You know what I'm saying? But at no point could you have gotten, some girl just got kidnapped at gunpoint, and they ain't got nobody out there trying to find that truck. These guys drove around how long before it was over with? Like, I want a timeline for real, for real. I'm going to go to that website too because I want a timeline. What's up, Catherine?
We were the first to know as soon as the judge signed that order this afternoon. And since then, we have been waiting for Francisco Estrella to post bond and then walk out of the jail here. There are conditions to his release. He'll need to be fitted with a GPS monitor. I spoke with his attorney on the phone, and he told me he should be going home tonight.
Is this Francisco?
Since Sunday, Francisco Estrella has been behind bars at the Seminole County Jail, but now he'll be able to post bond and get out. This is the order signed by
Let's see this
since
goofy.
Sunday from home tonight.
Lo cagaste, wey.
Is Francisco?
Since Sunday, Francisco Estrella has been behind bars at the Seminole County Jail, but now he'll be able to post bond and get out. This is the order signed by a judge Thursday afternoon, granting a total bond of $15,000.
Is the state's position that the defendant poses a danger to the community?
At a first appearance
Oh,
hearing Monday,
look. Look at the cops that y'all be hiring, man. Look at them being obnoxious with the judge like a thug. What? Come
by
on,
a
man.
judge
You
Thursday
full of yourself,
afternoon, granting
Papa.
a total bond of $15,000.
Is the state's position that the defendant poses a danger to the community?
At a first appearance hearing Monday, prosecutors initially argued Estrella should stay in jail for these reasons.
It's not just what he's charged with, but it's
Look at
also his abuse of power and his access to information.
Look,
that
see?
can be used.
If he's willing to act like that, what you think when he got a badge on, how he gonna act with me, huh? You ain't hiring nothing but another thug. That's what they do. Smoking Gun says, I think 3. The husband sent her to make a drop, and it went left. She tried to drive off, and they followed. Quite possible. Quite possible. Yeah, some work gone bad. Something. Eddie Jimenez said, bro, there's a video. Who took Catherine Aguas Vivas on YouTube from a day ago? Is it the video of the jacking or it's another video? All right, I'll look it up right now. Let's get through this one.
To further obstruct the investigation.
Detectives say after this video of an armed carjacking and kidnapping came out in Winter Springs, Estrella got a call from his wife, a childhood friend of Catherine Aguas Vivas' husband. She's the woman investigators say
He didn't call that cop to go find his wife. He called that cop to find out about the detective.
was driving this white Dodge Durango.
The deputy then picks up the phone, calls our detective, and gives a false name and identifies himself as a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, wanting to get information about this case.
The sheriff says that call was recorded and shared along with information Estrella is accused of accessing illegally through a law enforcement database.
Unique characteristics, home address, photographs, signatures of our primary detective working the case. We know that this deputy relayed this information to the decedent's husband, Miguel. But at this point in time, we don't know who else he may have shared that information with.
Estrella is facing 5 felony counts. When I spoke with his lawyer today, I asked him about what happened. He told me his client told the truth about what he did as soon as he was confronted by investigators that Catherine Aguas Vivas' husband called in a panic and he was just trying to help. He says he has no other involvement with this case. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, getting results. News.
Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying, y'all. Put this in here. Who took Catherine Aguas Vivas? Yeah, no, we seen got Law and Crime Network talking about it. There wasn't no carjacking. Definitely wasn't a carjacking. But I don't think anybody got any different information to offer than what we got so far. Right, this is Law and Crime Network 7 hours ago. We're not gonna go through the whole thing if it's unnecessary, but I didn't see nothing under that name, except for information and stuff that we've seen already.
I mean, a television show, right? You see these things. There's a lot of bizarre circumstances.
Yeah,
here.
basically the same
Florida
information.
authorities make a gruesome discovery as they find a body in a burning car. Now investigators believe it's the body of a woman who was carjacked in broad daylight. Last week, Catherine Altagracia Guerrero de Aguas Visas was driving her car when she stopped at a red light in Seminole County, Florida. At the light, an armed gunman held her up at gunpoint.
I did y'all dirty.
When you look at this thing, I mean, this is right out of a television show, right? You see these things. There's a lot of bizarre circumstances here.
Florida authorities make a gruesome discovery as they find a body in a burning car. Now investigators believe it's the body of a woman who was carjacked in broad daylight. Last week, Catherine Altagracia Guerrero de Aguas Visas was driving her car when she stopped at a red light in Seminole County, Florida. At the light, an armed gunman held her up at gunpoint, forcing their way into the white Dodge Durango. The terrifying carjacking was captured on cell phone footage from a witness in the vehicle behind the two cars. According to Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lima, the gunman exited the green Acura, which was directly behind the victim's vehicle. The gunman was wearing a black hoodie, a ski-type mask, and carrying what appeared
and black Air Force Ones. Stop reinforcing stereotypes.
To be an automatic handgun consistent with a 10mm.
Points directly at the driver, Catherine, tells her, we suspect unlock.
So basically, they're not giving us any new information. They're just telling us the same thing that they've been telling us. Evidently, there's no new information. I'm going to look, though. I'm going to see if there's any news. Let's Google that. Catherine Aguas Vivas. The news. Orlando area deputy arrest linked to him to husband and carjacking 11 hours ago. Judge grants bond. Tow truck driver may be connected. Same old stuff. So I'm sure that they're grilling the husband at this point. Shout out 298 on the check-in. Salutes to you. Appreciate you. Unfortunately, you've come at the tail end of this live stream. We just covered a crazy story. All right. But you can catch the replay. Salutes to you. And we had a paperwork party on Val's plea agreement. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this story. If anybody runs into any new information on this, make sure you let me know about it in the comments or drop it in the Discord or hit one of my social medias DMs with it. We'll be paying attention to this story. I wanted to get on this now because it is still happening, so we can continue to follow it. Again, just like Jorge Castillo said, down the line, I do plan on doing the story that happened in Chicago recently. It's frankly a story that I'm not surprised by and used to in this city. Like I always tell you, my brother said it best. All you need to be unalived in Chicago is potential. That's it, you know? So, but we will keep an eye out on the Catherine Aguas Vivas story. And I will keep you guys updated on what's going down this weekend on Saturday if we're doing this live and what time we're doing this live with the twins. I'll keep y'all posted. With that being said, let me throw the Discord link up in the chat. For those that are not in the Discord, y'all could join. Boom, there's that. Definitely 298. Hit that replay, man. Hit that replay and enjoy. We kicked it for 2 hours and 15 minutes. All right. Third live stream day in this week. We'll see if we continue it going tomorrow. Again, I'm trying to get used to editing while I am live rather than edit after the fact. Again, I appreciate you guys for being here. The best you can do for this channel is hit them like buttons. If you have yet to subscribe, please do. All right, we have the live chat has been on subscriber mode for the last few days because we want people to give us their commitment. All right. Another good thing you can do is if there's videos on this channel that you have yet to see, get you some binge watching in. All right. We got a bunch of playlists that I'm dropping the links to in the chat. A lot of good stuff in there, a lot of good work in there. So y'all can go in there and check it out. We got a true crime playlist with over 80 videos in it. We got the tragic death of Zach TV1. All right, we got the Surviving El Chapo saga, and we have the Cartel Wives saga. Not to mention, if you haven't heard our interviews with the twins, we got those up there too. Flores Twins exclusives. I'll drop this right here. Their exclusive interviews and the times that they've been on this channel. All right, boom. There you have it. All right, hundreds up in the chat. We can get out of here. Salutes to my brother Old Soul. Hundreds up in the chat for y'all. Salute Sha'il. I need to work on my commitment issues. Apologize, my dude. It's all good. You're a subscriber. You've committed, my friend. What happened? You're a little late? Don't worry. Catch the replay. This story's bananas right here. So don't miss it. All right? Don't miss it. It's crazy. With that said, I'm going to find something to get out of here. Y'all have a great Thursday night. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Salutes to y'all. I appreciate you guys coming through. That said, we'll do this and this. Fuck that up. Catch the replay. Salutes to y'all. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all. Peace. See y'all mañana.
When it's all said and done, all that matters is that you won. You push yourself to your purpose. You persevere through the slums. Maneuver smooth through the hustle. You careful making your runs. Everyone packing pistols. Stay safely behind your gun. Make sure you got your own back. Them busters run. Don't end up doing long time. Cause busters some. Looks like loyalty's a thing of the past. And these gangster flicks and rap vids got y'all gas. So when the lead start flying, my guess is that's your ass. Death will let no man pass. My circle is small and for the living. The strong and unforgiving. No nonsense, the driven. Each one obsessed with winning. Settle for less is bullshit. I want it all. Take yours, cut it all up and give to the poor. Sit back, watch the fireworks and witness the war. At the day's end, I want more. At the end of the day, when it all goes away, nothing left to see here, nothing else to say. When the cloud goes up, put the playlist on, let the sound go up. For the drama, you ain't got no beef, and I ain't got no time, cause I don't get no sleep, and I don't need help, only I can do me, and I'ma be fine, cause I wasn't born weak, see the world ain't mine, cause I wasn't born meek, but I walk this planet for the things that I seek, I suffer in the gutter, push my being to the brink, create what wasn't there, bring life to what I think, blow my cloud in the air, keep my consciousness in sync, my instincts well aware, prepared to throw the kitchen sink, keep fighting till it's finished, till the whole shit sink, till I hit rock bottom, bounce back and reach peak. Back in my proper placement, ready for shit I'm facing. Still feeling alive, cause my heart's still racing. My mind's still moving towards the peace I'm chasing. Tomorrow's not promised, so motherfuck patience. At the end of the day, when it all goes away, nothing left to see here, nothing else to say. When the cloud goes up, put the playlist on, let the sound go up. Till the clouds show up, when the cloud come down, put it right back up and fly. Put the cloud back up and fly. Put it right back up and fly. understand exactly where I'm supposed to go. Help me make a stand, know what I'm supposed to know. See through the facade, try to let my anger go. Life goes on, another show, another town, some other clowns, some other hoes. But the only thing that matters waiting on me back at home. Legacy building in the midst of menacing villains, murdering children like the killings become a thrilling. The rush of bloodlust, women, babies, civilians. Land gon' become Sam's water graves that they filling. Bodies in the lake, other shake on the sidewalk. Yellow crime tape, nothing fake, no outline chalk. Just a kid meeting his fate, knowing his time gone. Bleeding out, hearing the screams of his crying grandma. Dying inside, cause she know that a grandchild gone. So there's nothing left to say.
At the end of the day, when it all goes away, nothing left to see here, nothing else to say. When the cloud goes up, put the playlist on, let the sound go up.
Profound, it's deep where the heart makes sound. One last beat and it might bleed out. I just might leave now, empty these airbags and lie me down. See the lies in your eyes catching up with your mouth. I made my mistakes, of course I never lived them down. You won't let me, left marks on your heart. You will never forget me, condescend me and call me proud. I told you what you need to win and how. I'm a madman now. My worst fears realized, no longer the sad clown, Pagliacci the Pennywise. The point of no return, make them ashes and let them fly. You ain't gon' save them all, so go ahead and just let them die. Murder these emotions, bury them deep inside. If I get any colder, I swear I'ma freeze the shy. All I could do is soldier, marching through a starry night, focused on the end game, finally gon' get it right. Find myself in the light, been fighting for my fucking life, dealing with you fake fucks. I ain't gotta say much, you know what it is, kid. I just wanna blaze up, continue getting rich, bitch, and blow the fucking name up. Built by where I came from, pushed by what I've been through. You deferred my dreams, the reason I resent you. It don't make no sense, you pretend I don't offend you. I'm everything you hate, but if you walked a mile in these shoes, you finally understand why it's not in me to respect you. We come from different fabric, different madness, different venue. We lost our common ground, the bond just wasn't sound. The objective was to come up, and now you bring me down. Now you bring me down.
Crushing me inside.
Cold stares and crooked smiles for what seemed a million miles. Every demon that I let in is out to hunt me down. Burn this jungle up around me, leave the ashes on the ground. Scorched earth, cursed birth, body bags of 4 pounds. This is what we left with, why else would we be desperate? Gunning for each other's heads, wishing everybody dead. Fight the reaper often, but he will never soften. Relentless with his methods, he will put you in a coffin. My mind isn't earned, cause I've already burned. Drowned in the dark matter, mirror shattered, I've learned. You won't take what I've earned, never break what I create. Cause I have made the sacrifices you're afraid to make. My fear is lost potential, being anything but great. Succumbing to the suckers, to the leeches and the hate. Politicians with their speeches in these streets cannot debate. Punch your ballots with these bullets and you'll run and seal your fate. Democracy's a mockery, only the strongest stay. The weak will fade away, and us will see another day. No matter what another motherfucker has to say, I will never let you hold me in one place. Your problems are your own, it's personal, emotions overblown. Living separate visions, conscious overthrown. I trust none of you bastards, I'm safest when I'm alone. It's sad, I understand it's how it is out on this road. It take a gorilla's grip to hold on to your soul. Brute force to stick to the script and not let it go. You can't slip, one false move and you'll never know. Had you gotten up, how far you go, how far you go. You go.